Alright folks, welcome to your first installment of a Fats Darkly's Recycled Reviews, where, as it says on the placard, we take the dead and we make it live again. Because as old H.P. Lovecraft said, that is not dead which can eternal lie in strange eons, even death itself may die. What we do here, I'd like to get it all out, is we take movies that should not have been forgotten, and some of them might not be, but they just don't get the accolades that they deserve, and we bring them back to the forefront. We reintroduce them to a new crowd, if you will. Now, what we've got here for you today, and this is the style that the program's going to take on a permanent basis, is we've got a film from the 70s, 80s, and the 90s. Three films. And what I have for you here today in the 70s genre is Phantasm. What we're going to do is, let me get you a couple of screenshots to begin with, and then we're going to go ahead and delve off into what this movie's all about. Alright, I'm going to get back with you, but I'm going to go ahead and get you those screenshots. Alright folks, some seriously twisted and macabre stuff now, wasn't it? Now let me give you a little bit of an explanation as to what you just saw. This film, Phantasm, was released March 28th, 1979, a good year for horror. We'll cover plenty of other films that came from that same time period, even that same exact year. Some of them were great. If you can figure them out, you go ahead and email me those, and I'm going to go ahead and give you bonus points towards some of the products that we're going to be offering here in the future. Now, Phantasm, an ethereal masterpiece filmed by director Don Coscarelli on a shoestring budget. Now, it featured seminal actors that were yet to come to fame but surely would in the future, such as Michael Baldwin, Reggie Bannister, Angus Scrimm. Huh? Come on, you got three of the majors right there. Now, the plot centers around a macabre little twist in that an ethereal, otherworldly creature known as the Tall Man, he might have been a human at once, it doesn't explain that till later in the series, which we will get to, comes to a small town. He inhabits the neighboring graveyard right down the street from young Michael's house, Morningside Cemetery. Now, this movie's got everything at this point that you're going to want to see. You got the disappearing brother, that would be Michael's brother. You have insane cannibalistic zombie midgets. You have flying silver balls with blades that stick into people's heads and drill their fucking brains out. Now, this is something that you're not going to see in many other movies past this point. You might have stuff that's just as gory, but you don't have the storyline. Now, what you have here is a true masterpiece in craftsmanship, film work, and considering the budget that it was filmed on, I think it was something in the hundreds of thousands, not even $1 million to film this film. Now, Don Coscarelli went on to film many other films, but nothing that reached the fame of Phantasm. I'm telling you folks, the reason we need to bring this particular film back, you saw the screenshots, is not just because it's a lost gem. It's a whole fucking mine. You're going to love this. You go ahead and check it out. You won't be disappointed. Now, what we're going to do at this point is move on to the next film. Alright, coming up in the 80s, we got Hellraiser, the original. Later. For those of you who haven't seen it, and I'm hoping that's a significant few, Hellraiser is one of those movies that represents the darker side of the human spirit in a very real sense because it's based on a book by Clive Barker called The Hellbound Heart. Now, this man, Barker, who's very pertinent to the information of this movie because he had a hand in the crafting of the actual movie as well as the book. He is I think he's a twisted individual, never met him myself, but what he puts into his art comes back out at you tenfold. This is why I love this movie so much. It produces a blissful sense of terror and impending doom. Maybe you don't get it the first time through, but then you start to see the dark twists and turns that evoke actual humanity, among all the demons and things like that. Fuck, we're all going to hell, right? At least everybody watching, me and myself, are. In any case, the technical aspects of the movie go as follows. You have Julia, the evil stepmother, played by Claire Higgins. You have Kirsty. Now, she's really the heroine of the film, but to me, she's actually a small part. All she is the victim. She's played by Ashley Lawrence. And then you got Uncle Frank. To me, this dude has creeped down to an absolute art form. Now, Uncle Frank is a hedonist and possibly quite a few other things. And he's cheating with Aunt Julia, Julia's the stepmother. He's cheating with Julia on his own brother, So it's kind of twisted, but what he brings back with him from one of his rambling trips, quite literally, is the doom of everyone. Now, Frank isn't with us at the beginning of the movie, and I'll leave that statement notably vague, so you're going to want to find out what I mean by that yourself. Frank comes back. That's the basis of a lot of horror movies, but in this one, it's particularly horrifying. I think that you're going to want to watch this if you haven't already seen it. If you have already seen it, and maybe it was a long time ago, you should go back and watch it again, because I'm telling you, man, this movie's one of those that just touches you right here. Or maybe I'm just a sick bastard. I don't know. That's probably the answer right there. But in any case, I don't give bad advice. Watch Hellraiser. It has everything you want in it. It has that otherworldly, horrifying aspect. If you love hell, I think this is a glimpse, if you believe in hell, of what it's truly like. It's hard to describe why it makes you feel that way, but any movie that makes you feel something, and this is one of them, folks, you gotta check it out. Now, coming up next, we have a review of a cult favorite, Army of Darkness. Later, I'm gonna get you some screenshots on that. Folks, upon asking a few people, I was actually surprised. There's quite a lot of people that don't know about this movie, Army of Darkness. Now, I guess that's understandable if you're not like a horror fan, but I'm here to make new horror fans. And it kind of falls into that genre niche, the comedy horror, but it's even more so than that because this dude that plays Ash is a slapstick genius. I'm telling you, right now he's doing what's that show? Burn Notice, as a matter of fact. He's Sam Axe. Now, I know there's a lot of fans for him there, but if you want to see where he came from, what made him, this is it. Not Army of Darkness, but the whole Evil Dead series. This one is just a personal favorite of mine, Army of Darkness. I think it's a little bit underbilled, because it's the third installment. Nobody likes sequels. I'm not like that, though. Let me tell you why. Because it took him a while to build up his comedy chops, and this third one, the second Evil Dead was sort of like that too, but this third one was a complete riot, alright? Now what happens is, after the second movie, if you haven't seen it, I'm not going to spoil it for you because we're going to cover the first two later. I just find this one the perfect material for this first segment here. Well, he gets thrown back into time, into a pseudo-Arthurian medieval, amalgam of Earth's history or whatever, and through various screw-ups, he literally causes the beginning of what would be called an apocalypse. The dead are walking around. This dude gets himself into so many fucking stupid situations that it's a riot. I mean, he mispronounces the words. The dude gives him 3 words. He mispronounces the words, wakes the dead. The scene is a riot. The scene is, I mean, you're going to have to check this out. It had me laughing so hard that I almost choked to death on Cheetos. And believe me, I know how to eat Cheetos. Alright, now, it came out in 1993. I think it's held up pretty well. I mean, it was never intended to be like a big budget smash hit or anything like that. You know, some of the effects are pretty cheesy. But, you know, the other two, yeah. You know, the other two, Phantasm, even though it's from the 70s. And Hellraiser are going to beat it surely on effects and gore and all that. And if that's what you're into, and I know I am, but sometimes you need an uplifting thing, and that's where Army of Darkness comes in. That's where Bruce Campbell comes in. I highly endorse this guy. You know, I mean, he's wonderful. He can do a little bit of everything. I suggest, you know, here's a little bit of shilling for him right here. I suggest you check out all his movies, all the Evil Dead, but especially Army of Darkness. It's a good place to start. You don't even have to see the whole series. I remember the first time I saw it, I was probably like 9 years old, right? You know, it kind of tells you a little bit how macabre I was when I was a kid. I was rolling on the fucking floor and my grandma caught me. And she was mortified, right? Because there's skeletons walking around hacking at people and shit like that. And I think that's what she thought I was laughing at. You know, it was to me, looking back on that, it's hilarious. You know, it might be why I have kind of the reputation that I do now among, you know, the older people in my family. But like I said, I highly endorse this family. You can't really tell much from the screenshots, but give it a whirl. You won't be disappointed. If you have any faith in me, dark faith as it may be, go ahead and check it out. Phantasm is great. Well, folks, that closes up the first segment of a Fats Darkly's Recycled Reviews, and I hope you'll be tuning in and returning. I'm going to leave you with some information, and remember, stay dark. I'll see you later.
I push my fingers into my eyes. It's the only thing that slowly stops the